And Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu al-atamani al-akmalani ala nabiyyillahi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsani ila yawm ad-dini wa sallama tasliman kathiran amma ba'd. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala abundantly the way He deserves to be praised. We ask Allah to exalt the mention and grant peace of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Brothers and sisters in faith, حياكم الله وبياكم في درس جديد من كتاب التفسير الشيخ عبد الرحمن بن ناصر السعدي عليه رحمة الله. Particularly Soorah An-Noor, Ayah number 32. Mr. Mussab, proceed, sir.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وأنكحوا الأيام منكم والصالحين من عبادكم وإمائكم إن يكونوا فقراء يغنيهم الله من فضله والله واسع عليم وليستعفف الذين لا يجدون نكاحا حتى يغنيهم الله من فضله والذين يبتغون الكتاب مما ملكت أيمانكم فكاتبوهم إن علمتم فيهم خيرا وآتوهم مما لله الذي آتاكم ولا تكرهوا فتياتكم على البغاء إن أردنا تحصنا لتبتغوا عرض الحياة الدنيا ومن يكرههن فإن الله من بعد إكراههن غفور رحيم.
Barakallah fiqh. And marry the unmarried among you and the righteous among your male slaves and female slaves. If they should be poor, Allah will enrich them from His bounty. And Allah is all encompassing and knowing. But let them who find not the means for marriage abstain from sexual relations until Allah enriches them from His bounty. And those who seek a contract for eventual emancipation, between brackets, from among whom your right hands possess, then make a contract with them if you know there's within them goodness, and give them from the wealth of Allah which He has given you. And do not compel your slave girls for prostitution or to prostitution, if they desire chastity, to seek thereby the temporary interest of worldly life. And if someone should compel them, then indeed Allah is to them after their compulsion forgiving and merciful. So the Shaykh rahimahullah says in commenting on those particular ayat the following: يأمر تعالى الأولياء والأسياد بإنكاح من تحت ولايتهم من الأيام. Allah Azza wa Jal commands, the people in the awliya, those in charge, the guardians, basically the guardians, and the masters, to give in marriage those who are under them from among these slaves. وهم من لا أزواج لهم من رجال ونساء ثيب وأبكار. And the ayama is those who have no spouses for them, whether male or female, whether men or women, and whether thayyib or bikr. And the plural of bikr is abkar. Do you guys know what thayyib and bikr is? I'm sure you do. A thayyib is the non-virgin, and al-bikr is al-virgin. Al-virgin, the virgin. So non-virgins and virgins. فيجب على القريب وولي اليتيم أن يزوج من يحتاج للزواج ممن تجب نفقته عليه. So it is obligatory on the relative and the guardian of the orphan to give them in marriage those of them who need to get married, of those whom he is responsible for in terms of spending. وإذا كانوا مأمورين بإنكاح من تحت أيديهم, and if they're commanded to fulfill or to facilitate marriage for those who are under their care, كان أمرهم بالنكاح بأنفسهم من باب أولى, then that command being given towards them to get married is more deserving. Meaning, if Allah is telling you, you should make sure that those who are under you are married, then that command and that directive goes to you first. As a person in charge, you need to make sure that you've taken care of yourself. والصالحين من عبادكم وإمائكم. يحتمل أن المراد بالصالحين صلاح الدين. And the righteous from among your male and female slaves. It could be that what is intended by salihin meaning salih meaning sound or righteous, as in from a religious point of view, like religiously committed. وأن الصالح من العبيد والإماء وهو الذي لا يكون فاجرا زانيا. And that the righteous among the male and female slaves are those who are not involved in, they are not fornicators, they're not adulteresses and fornicators who are corrupt. مأمور سيده بإنكاحه جزاء له على صلاحه وترغيبا له فيه. So that his master is commanded to give him in marriage, to facilitate marriage as means of rewarding them for their righteousness and to make them look forward to it. ولأن الفاسد بالزنا منهي عن تزوجه, and because the person who's been corrupt because of their illicit sexual relations, it is prohibited to marry them. فيكون مؤيدا للمذكور في أول السورة. So this becomes a condition. This now places a condition or a restriction or a qualifier to what was mentioned in the beginning of the surah, أن نكاح الزاني والزانية محرم حتى يتوب, that marrying the fornicating man or the fornicating woman is prohibited until they repent. ويكون التخصيص بالصلاح في العبيد والإماء دون الأحرار. And then that specification about righteousness is particular to the male slaves and the female slaves, unlike the free people. لكثرة وجود ذلك في العبيد عادة, because that was very prevalent and abundant among the slaves back then. Meaning back then slaves were more likely to engage in these kind of illicit relationships than those who are ahrar or those who are free people, i.e. they're not owned. ويحتمل أن المراد بالصالحين الصالحين للتزوج المحتاجين إليه من العبيد والإماء. It could be, however, that what is intended by the term salihin, meaning those who are fit, they are fit for marriage from among the male and female slaves. يؤيد هذا المعنى, what strengthens this meaning, أن السيد غير مأمور بتزويج مملوكته قبل حاجته إلى الزواج, that the master is not commanded to give off in marriage his female slave before his need for marriage. ولا يبعد إرادة المعنيين كليهما, and it is not far-fetched that both meanings are intended, meaning what is intended by salih, meaning they are righteous people that are not involved in zina, and also means salih as in they are fit for marriage, they're ready for marriage in that sense. والله أعلم, and Allah knows best. وقوله إن يكونوا فقراء أي الأزواج المتزوجين, meaning if the spouses and those who are getting married, if they are poor, يغنيهم الله من فضله فلا يمنعكم ما تتوهمون من أنه إذا تزوج افتقر بسبب كثرة العائلة ونحوه. So do not be deceived and do not prevent the marriage based on your assumption that if they get married they will become poor because of the abundance of family members and so on and so forth. وفيه حث على التزوج ووعد للمتزوج بالغنى بعد الفقر. And in it is the encouragement and the invitation to get married, and a promise for the one who's getting married to become rich after being poor. Allahu Akbar. والله واسع كثير الخير عظيم الفضل. Allah Azza wa Jal is vast in goodness, in excellence, and great in his bounty. عليم, all-knowing, بمن يستحق فضله الديني والدنيوي أو أحدهما ممن لا يستحق فيعطي كلا ما علمه واقتضاه حكمه. And Allah also is all-knowing of those who deserve his religious bounty or his worldly bounty, or who deserves only one of them from the one who does not deserve any. So Allah gives each according to his knowledge and according to what his wisdom entails. تمام. وَلْيَسْتَعْفِفِ الَّذِينَ لَا يَجِدُونَ نِكَاحًا حَتَّى يُغْنِيهِمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. And let them who find not the means of marriage abstain from sexual relations until Allah enriches them from their bounty, from his bounty. هذا حكم العاجز عن النكاح. This is the ruling concerning the one who's unable to get married, meaning he's not qualified, fit, capable financially, and so forth. أمره الله أن يستعفف. Allah Azza wa Jal commanded a person to abstain. أن يكف عن المحرم ويفعل الأسباب التي تكف عنه. that he should abstain from the prohibited, and he should follow the means available that will help him stay away from the haram. من صرف دواعي قلبه بالأفكار التي تخطر بإيقاع فيه, by, for example, dismissing the ideas that come to the heart, by dismissing the thoughts that engulf the heart, that will invite him to fall into haram. ويفعل أيضا كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم, and he should also do what the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, يا معشر الشباب, all young people, من استطاع منكم الباءة فليتزوج, whoever among you is able, who can afford, let him get married. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ, and whoever is unable, فَعَلَيْهِ بِالصَّوْمِ, then upon him is fasting, فَإِنَّهُ لَهُ وِجَاء, because it will be a means of protection for him. وَقَوْلُهُ الَّذِينَ لَا يَجِدُونَ نِكَاحًا, and regarding the statement of Allah, those who cannot, who do not have the means to find marriage, أي لا يقدرون نكاحا, meaning they cannot get married, إما لفقرهم, either because of their poverty, أو فقر أوليائهم وأسيادهم, or because of the poverty of their guardians and their masters, أو امتناعهم من تزويجهم, or it could be that their guardians are preventing them from getting married, which is the case with many of our sisters in Islam. Wait, let me take that back. Which is the case with many of our brothers and sisters in Islam, who have absolutely lovely parents who do not want to help them get married. Rather, they would like to block any opportunity for marriage and let them suffer for many years on end, getting a better education and earning a lot more money and getting ready psychologically and mentally and physically and financially and educationally and systematically and ridiculously for every obstacle in life before finally they get married. And when by then they've already missed out on life, and now they have to adjust their lifestyle with this keyboard. They have to adjust their lifestyle now to a new partner, and they've set up a certain lifestyle where it becomes very difficult for them to compromise. It becomes very difficult for them to compromise, to let go of their habits or the lifestyle that they've made for themselves. And then those marriages can also end up in divorce. Why? Because you've already lived most of your life on your own, independently, quote unquote, in celibacy, to the point where you're not really fit to have a spouse where you could, take care of and give up on certain things for and sacrifice for, and so on and so forth. And all these are a byproduct of cultural pandemics that we've been suffering from for many years among the Muslims, they've made marriage one of the most impossible or most complicated matters to achieve in life. Like, you can literally become an astronaut before you can get married. It's easier to become an astronaut and fly into space, and mix with stars and planets before you could find a spouse where you could coexist with in one house. It's ajib, yani. And you talk to the parents, and they have this set of rules, rules and regulations and guidelines that they learn from their fathers and from their forefathers, who learn from their forefathers, and it's just basically inherited down generation after generation, until people's like, dude, what the heck, man? Like, the dowry, for you to afford the dowry, then you have to have this like engagement event celebration, a wedding celebration, all of which cost buckloads of money. The savings that this man has been putting forward for many years is all going to go down a drain for one night where they technically disobey Allah from the beginning of the night until the end of it. Ya Jama'ah, things that don't enter the brain. No. You know what I may know? Why, ya Jama'at al-Khair, why? This wedding, what people do on the wedding day, is the most ludicrous thing in the world. Yo, how much does it cost to get married? How much money, how much budget do you have allocated for the wedding event? Spend 10% of that on the wedding, and the 90% use it as an investment for your house. Go buy nice furniture, something decent, a big house. Prophet ﷺ said, from the means of happiness of a person is baytun wasi'. Have a big house, a big vast house, instead of just being living in a tiny apartment. Why waste the money on a wedding night that is gonna go away? Khalas. Even if you record it and if you take millions of pictures, it's never gonna be khalas. You live it only once. Even if you watch the video again, oh, look how cute we were, you still lived it only once. You're not gonna be able to relive the moment. Plus, assuming you're doing a halal marriage, meaning men and women are segregated and there's no, Britney Spears songs being played, because we're gonna allow the drum for the women. A drum is okay, but is that really what's happening in Muslim marriages today? Over my dead body. Over my dead body. What? Wedding, what did I say? Funeral? Marriage? Whatever, you know what I mean. Bismillah. So it's a crazy world we're living in, And so, yeah, of course, hey, people now, versus the Prophet ﷺ saying, young men, whoever can afford it, get married. And Allah Azza wa Jal commanding the people to give those under them in marriage. Because Islam is all about facilitation of marriage. Facilitation of marriage. All these permissions and all this headache. إيش هذا يا شيخ؟ المهم وليس لهم قدرة على إجبارهم على ذلك. أيوة. So they cannot get married either because of their poverty or the poverty of their guardians and masters, or because they're preventing them from getting married, and they have no power to force them otherwise. وهذا التقدير أحسن من تقدير من قدر لا يجدون مهر النكاح. And this scale is, or this assessment is better than the assessment of the one who cannot find the value, cannot find the actual dowry for marriage. وجعلوا المضاف إليه نائبا مناب المضاف. فإن في ذلك محذورين أحدهما الحذف في الكلام وأصل عدم الحذف. We're going to go into some grammar. Let me not elaborate on something that I'm not really familiar with, so I'm not going to حالة غنى بمالي وحالة عم. طيب المهم والثاني, the second, كون المعنى قاصر على من له حالان, and the meaning could be restricted to one of two conditions. The condition of the one who حالة غنى بمالي, the one who has wealth, he's self-sufficed financially, وحالة عدم, and the condition of the lack of wealth. عدم, you don't have anything. فيخرج العبيد والإماء من إنكاحه على وليه كما ذكرنا. Again, حتى يغنيهم الله من فضله, ووعد للمستعفف أن الله سيغنيه وييسر له أمره وأمر له بانتظار الفرج لئلا يشق عليه ما هو عليه. This is a promise from Allah that the one who abstains, that Allah Azza wa Jal will enrich him and will facilitate his affair. And it's a command for him to also be wait for that facilitation. وَأَمْرٌ لَهُ بِانْتِظَارِ الْفَرَجِ. Allah is commanding him to look forward, to anticipate the facilitation and the alleviation of hardship. لِأَلَّا يَشُقُّ عَلَيْهِ مَا هُوَ فِيهِ. So that he does not feel burdened with what he is enduring of basically not being able to get married yet. وقوله والذين يبتغون الكتاب مما ملكت أيمانكم فكاتبوهم إن علمتم فيهم خيرا. أي من ابتغى وطلب منكم الكتاب وأن يشتري نفسه من عبيد وإماء, meaning those who require or those who ask for that contract to be written, meaning they want you to write a contract from among your, they want to basically emancipate themselves from among the male and female slaves. فأجيبوه إلى ما طلب وطالبوه وكاتبوه. So that respond to what they requested and do write that contract. إن علمتم فيهم أي في الطالبين للكتابة خيرا. If you know that in those who are seeking that contract, if you know that there's goodness in them, أي قدرة على التكسب وصلاحا في دين. I mean, they have the means to earn a living and they have righteousness in their religious commitment. لأن في الكتابة تحصيل المصلحتين, because in writing that contract there are two benefits. مصلحة العتق والحرية. First of all, the benefit of emancipation and freedom. ومصلحة العوض الذي يبذله في فداء نفسه, and also the benefit of the replacement or the investment, the return on investment that one puts forth in emancipating himself. وربما جد واجتهد وأدرك لسيده في مدة الكتابة من مال ما لا يحصل في رقه, and perhaps he will exert himself and make major effort, and he will achieve, or he will reach for his master during that duration of the contract in terms of wealth what he would have never been able to achieve had he remained a slave. فلا يكون ضرر على السيد في كتابته, so that there's no harm upon the owner, the master, to actually write that contract, meaning he's making money out of this in return for emancipating that slave. مع حصول عظيم المنفعة العبد, with the great benefit that will be attained by the slave himself. فلذلك أمر الله بالكتابة على هذا الوجه أمر إيجاب. That's why Allah Azza wa Jal commanded that this contract should take place as an obligatory command, كما هو الظاهر, as per the apparent meaning, أو أمر استحباب على قول آخر, or another opinion suggests that it's a matter of recommendation, it's not obligatory. نعم. وأمر بمعاونتهم على كتابتهم, and Allah Azza wa Jal commanded that they are aided and helped in writing the contract, لكونهم محتاجين لذلك, because they are in need of that. بسبب أنهم لا مال لهم, because they have no money. فقال وآتوهم من مال الله الذي آتاكم, يدخل في ذلك أمر سيده الذي كتبه أن يعطيه من كتابته أو يسقط عنه منها, وأمر الناس بمعونتهم. Included in that is the command to the master who's writing the contract with him, that he should give him some of that contract, or he should remove some of the obligations that is upon a slave, and also a command for the people to financially help the person in the contract, the slave, to emancipate himself. ولهذا جعل الله للمكاتبين قسطا من الزكاة ورغب في إعطائه. That's why Allah Azza wa Jal gave those mukatibin, those in that contract, He gave them a portion of the zakah, and He encouraged that they're given that zakah. بقوله من مال الله الذي آتاكم, by saying from the wealth of Allah that He gave you. أي فكما أن المال مال الله, just like the wealth is the wealth of Allah. وإنما الذي بأيديكم عطية من الله لكم ومحض منا. And so that which is within your hands is a bounty, it's a gift, it's a present from Allah, and a pure favor. فأحسنوا لعباد الله كما أحسن الله إليكم. So be kind and be good to the slaves of Allah, just like Allah Azza wa Jal was good to you, was excellent with you, basically. Bismillah. And that's a beautiful meaning right there. When you program yourself to understand that the wealth you own is Allah's wealth, and you're just an accountant. You're an accountant in the sense that you're managing the money that Allah gave you. If Allah didn't have this wealth and money written for you, you're getting nothing. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people think that they've earned this money with their hard work and with their skills, like Qarun, among many, Qarun back in the day. We have many Qaruns today, among the Muslims even, with that mentality that they think that they're so, mashallah, so smart and so intelligent, and they're so skilled, that this is a money that they've actually earned or deserve. And they don't realize that it's merely the bounty of Allah upon them. It is the wealth of Allah who He given them, and we're just recipients. We're the recipients of an existing wealth that Allah shifted to our property, to our control. It is not a wealth that we generated from zero on our own. You did not make the money. Allah had that money there, and it just came to you via rizq, via the rizq, the vehicle of sustenance that Allah Azza wa Jal has written for slaves. So be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All of us should be thankful to Allah for what we have of wealth. ومفهوم الآية الكريمة أن العبد إذا لم يطلب الكتابة. The understanding of the ayah suggests that if a slave does not ask for the contract, لا يؤمر سيده أن يبتدئ بكتابته. The master is not commanded to initiate this contract. Meaning, if a slave doesn't say, yo, I want to I want to have a contract where I emancipate myself. I'll pay you X amount of money for my freedom. If the slave does not take that initiative, the master is not given a command by Allah that he should initiate that on his own. وأنه إذا لم يعلم منه خيرا فإن علم منه عكسه. Or, and that if he doesn't know any good of in that slave, but if he does know, then he reverses it. إما أنه يعلم أنه لا كسب له, either he knows that this slave will not be able to earn any money, فيكون بسبب ذلك كلا على الناس ضائعا. So then they become both a source of loss for the people. وإما أن يخاف إذا عتق وصار في حرية نفسه أن يتمكن من الفساد. Or the master may fear that if he's emancipated and he becomes free, then he will be able to cause corruption on earth. فهذا لا يؤمر بكتابته. This person, you're not commanded to initiate that emancipation contract with him. بل ينهى عن ذلك, rather you're prohibited from that. لما فيه من المحذور المذكور, because of that concern that is mentioned. And obviously in this tafsir is a refutation against all those people that claim that there's no slavery in Islam, or that Islam, the slavery no longer exists. They say slavery no longer exists. There's a difference between saying, yes, Islam came to put guidelines and rules on slavery. B, Islam encourages emancipation of slaves. There are many different sins where the fidya, the compensation, for that sin is that you free a slave, and so on and so forth, and that you get reward for it. But also Islam did not come to completely eradicate slavery, nor is there anything that suggests that slavery will no longer exist at a certain point in time, because Allah's rules and regulations are applicable until Yawm al-Qiyamah. And there could be a condition that will happen hundreds of years from now where slavery will be back in effect. Slavery will be back in effect. And it is not racial slavery. It is a different type of slavery based on religious guidelines and based on a very particular code that is revealed and given to us by the creator of mankind, who knows best what is fit for who. So make sure that you don't become this pathetic, apologetic Muslim who's constantly denying the teachings of Islam and the guidance of Islam in an effort to please your superiors from among the disbelievers, so that you can gain some points with them, knowing very well that that will not benefit you, they will not become Muslim, and you will be in trouble with Allah on Yawm al-Qiyamah. How do you save yourself all this headache? Keep it real and stick to the religious teachings. If you can comprehend them, if they make sense to you, alhamdulillah, congratulations, you're good to go. If they don't, then realize that you have an issue with your comprehension skills. You have a limitation in your intelligence. It is your problem, not the problem of Islam, not the problem of the religion, and not the problem of the teachings of Islam. It is your problem, and you have to fix it on your own. If you can't fix it, keep it to yourself. Don't go make a campaign and cause many other people to get confused because you yourself can't wrap your head around certain teachings of Islam that are part and parcel of this beautiful and wonderful religion. ثم قال تعالى ولا تكرهوا فتياتكم أي إماءكم على البغاء أي أن تكون زانية. So do not compel your slave girls to prostitution. إن أردنا تحصنا لأنه لا يتصور إكراهها إلا بهذه الحال, because you cannot imagine her being compelled except in this condition. وأما إذا لم ترد تحصنا, but if she does not want to be chaste, فإنها تكون بغيا يجب على سيدها منع من ذلك, then she becomes a prostitute and it's obligatory on her master to prevent her from engaging in these acts. وإنما هذا نهي لما كانوا يستعملونه في الجاهلية. This is a prohibition regarding what they used to do at the times of Jahiliyyah. من كون السيد يجبر أمته على البغاء. Back when the master would force his slave girl to work in prostitution. ليأخذوا منها أجرة ذلك. So he can get the money from that. Basically pimping. Pimping existed all the way with the Jahiliyyah of the Arabs, way before the super cool pimps that you see now in Los Angeles with his funky looking outfits and suits and their cane and their hats and their crazy glasses and them characters that you see around. Yeah, pimping was happening way back. So the Arabs in the Jahiliyyah before Islam, i.e., they used to have slave girls and they would use them as they would pimp them and make money from them accordingly. ولهذا قال, that's what Allah said, لتبتغوا عرض الحياة الدنيا, so that you may see the temporary interest, you may seek the temporary interest of the worldly life. أي فلا يليق بكم أن تكون إماءكم خيرا منكم وأعف عن الزنا. So it is not befitting that your own slaves are better than you and they are more keen on being chaste against fornication and zina. وأنتم تفعلون بهن ذلك لأجل عرض الدنيا, while you're forcing them to get engaged in this kind of act because you're trying to gain worldly lives. يعني عيب. متاع قليل يعرض ثم يزول. It is a temporary joy that will appear, it will display itself, then it will vanish. فكسبكم النزاهة والنظافة والمروءة بقطع النظر عن ثواب الآخرة وعقابها أفضل من كسبكم العرض القليل الذي يكسبكم الرذالة والخسة. الله أكبر. So you earning purity, cleanliness and dignity, irrespective of whether there's a reward in the life to come or a punishment, is surely better than your temporary gain that will only bring you lowliness and lowliness and abhorrence. The radhala is when you're really grimy, just griminess and lowliness. ثم دعا من جرى منه الإكراه إلى توبة. Then Allah invited the person who was involved at some point in this kind of pimping to repent. فقال ومن يكرهن فإن الله من بعد إكراههن غفور رحيم. And whoever compelled them, then verily Allah Azza wa Jal, after that compulsion, is most forgiving and merciful. فليتب إلى الله. So let him repent to Allah. وَلْيُقْلِعْ عَمَّا صَدَرَ مِنْهُ مِمَّا يُغْضِبُ. Let him stay away and abandon that which has come forth from him, which brings Allah's wrath about. فَإِذَا فَعَلَ ذَلِكَ, if he does so, غَفَرَ اللَّهُ ذُنُوبَهُ وَرَحِمَهُ. Allah Azza wa Jal will forgive his sins and will show mercy to him. كَمَا رَحِمَ نَفْسَهُ بِفِكَاكِهَا مِنَ الْعَذَابِ. Just as he has shown mercy to himself by emancipating it from its torment. وَكَمَا رَحِمَ أَمَتَهُ بِعَدَمِ إِكْرَاهِهَا عَلَى مَا يَضُرُّهَا. And just like he had mercy on his slave girl by not forcing her and compelling her to do that which is harmful to her. Ayah 34.
ولقد أنزلنا إليكم آيات مبينات ومثلا من الذين خلوا من قبلكم وموعظة للمتقين.
Okay. And we have certainly sent down to you distinct verses and examples from those who passed on before you, and an admonition for those who fear Allah. The Shaykh rahimahullah says, هذا تعظيم وتفخيم لهذه الآيات التي تلاها على عباده. This is a means of Allah Azza wa Jal magnifying and exalting, these ayat which he has recited or he has read upon his slaves, in the sense that it's the words of Allah Azza wa Jal. ليعرفوا قدرها ويقوموا بحقها, so they may know its value and they may fulfill its right. فقال, so Allah said, وَلَقَدْ أَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ آيَاتٍ مُبَيِّنَاتٍ أي واضحات الدلالة على كل أمر تحتاجون إليه من الأصول والفروع. Meaning clear-cut evidences regarding every matter that you need from among the major or the fundamentals and the branches. بحيث لا يبقى فيها إشكال ولا شبهة, to the point that there's absolutely no conflict and no doubt. وأنزلنا إليكم أيضا, and we have also sent down to you مثلا من الذين خلوا من قبلكم من أخبار الأولين. We've also given you examples of those who preceded you from among the stories and the information of those who came first. الصالح منهم الطالح, the righteous among them and the unrighteous. You should know already that the opposite of salih is talih. You might hear some Arabs say this, salih wa talih. وصفة أعمالهم, and Allah also gave us the description of their deeds. وما جرى لهم وجرى عليهم, and what happened to them and what occurred to them. تعتبرونه مثالا ومعتبرا لمن فعل مثل أعمالهم أن يجازى مثل ما جوزوا. And so you take it as an admonishment, as a lesson, as a reminder that then whoever does what they did then will be also treated the way they were treated. وَمَوْعِظَةً لِلْمُتَّقِينَ أي وَأَنزَلْنَا إِلَيْكُمْ مَوْعِظَةً لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. We have sent down an admonition for the believers, for the righteous. مِنَ الْوَعْدِ وَالْوَعِيدِ وَالتَّرْغِيبِ وَالتَّرْهِيبِ. From wa'd is the promise, is a promise of reward. Wa'id is the threat of a punishment. Just so y'all can be familiar with these words, which we come across often, and you should learn these by now. So whenever you come across the words wa'dun wa wa'idun, wa'dun has a positive connotation, denoting the meaning of a good reward awaiting you, and wa'id has a negative connotation, denoting a meaning of a punishment that is awaiting you, a torment that is awaiting you. Wa'dun wa wa'id. And you also have the two contrasting words or the antonyms, at-targhib wa tarhib. Targhib is encouraging, tarhib is threatening or frightening or scaring. So when Allah does targhib to something, meaning He makes you have raghba for it, He makes you have desire for it, the want for it, the yearning for it. Tarhib is from rahba, is from fear. And being wary of something, being scared of something, being concerned of something. يَتَّعِظُ بِهَا الْمُتَّقُونَ. Then the righteous will be admonished by it. فَيَكُفُّونَ عَمَّا يَكْرَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَى مَا يُحِبُّهُ اللَّهُ. Then they will stay away from that which Allah hates, and they will go towards that which Allah loves. And with this we conclude ayah 34. بِإِذْنِ we will have to conclude ayah 35, which is one of the most important ayat in the book of Allah. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. I have good news and bad news for you. The good news is that we will be dealing with this ayah in the next class, inshallah, and that's something to look forward to, honestly. The bad news is we are going on vacation, and we will have limited access and no setup to be having these classes. So today marks the last day of the Tafseer class up until Insha'Allahu Friday the 24th of December. We are supposed to resume our Tafseer class inshallah on Friday the 24th of December. So sorry about that. It is beyond the control. Many years, no vacation, finally go. Imagine if we use that English for the whole class. It would be so much fun. Maybe we'll try it for the Q&A. Anyways, so that's it. We'll deal with that next time. Let's open the class for the Q&A. Wait, let me stop sharing so we can have a bigger screen. Okay. And go full screen. Ustad, is it haram to pay car insurance monthly as the total amount of the monthly payments is more than a single annual payment? Is this riba? Habibi, paying for car insurance is haram, whether it is monthly or yearly. And that is assuming that you're willingly getting car insurance, not that it's imposed on you by the government of the country in which you live. If the government imposes on you car insurance, then you're allowed to buy car insurance, and you should probably get it for the yearly, just so you can get out of any other doubts within the contract. And if la qaddar Allah, you were to be in an accident, may Allah Azza wa Jal protect you, you can only take back from the insurance company the value of the money you paid for the policy. So if the policy costs you $1,000 or £1,000, then you could take that $1,000, £1,000 back in case of an accident. You may not take more than that because it's money that you don't earn and you do not own, nor have you earned. If the country in which you live does not impose on you car insurance, then haram, baby. Insurance is haram. Sharia compliant insurance, how? I would be interested in knowing how they have a Sharia compliant insurance. Yeah, there's a lot of things that the people make Sharia compliant, but it is not Sharia compliant in any way, shape, or form. Next. Do you know a sheikh that specializes in issues of inheritance? I have a complex inheritance issue in my family that's causing great fitna. I wish I did. I don't. But I would assume that our brother Sheikh Abu Usama Dhahabi would be qualified for that because he's an official imam of a masjid, and usually they know about that. So if you're able to reach out to Abu Usama Dhahabi, then that would be perfect, inshallah. Now, one of my family members is a Quranist. I want to try to refute their beliefs slowly through your video, The Philosophers. There are some other beliefs too. Can I email you them so I know what to respond? That's a tough one, man. I would rather that you ask me those questions here and then we could respond to them one by one. I don't reply to emails. Typing is such a long, agonizing process. And to be able to give you a lecture via typing is just borderline painful. So forgive me for that. I would rather speak in voice. Next. Ustad, may Allah bless you. Ameen. Wa anta aydan ya Aba Abdul Rahman. What level of wealth should one have to get married? And should someone young with a super great job get married? Habibi, yani the amount of wealth that you need is enough for you to be able to, maintain a household. You don't have to be rich, bro. If you're able to pay rent and you can put food on the table, khalas. If you have a roof over your head and you have food to eat, you're good to go. Obviously, clothing. You should be able to clothe yourself and your wife. Anything else is just extra. Anything else is extra. And someone young with a super great job, yeah, if you're young and you got a great job or you're already earning money, get married ala tul, habibi, and hit the 4 ala tul. Go for cuatro. I'm saying any brother and every brother who can afford to marry more than one sister, go ahead, because there's a lot of sisters that are unmarried and who are in dire need of husbands. So the brother who can make it happen, habibi. Now, yeah, Atif Habibi, wallah anta, you sometimes, ya Sheikh, you make me feel like I'm a secretary of Brother Tim Humble or Abdullah or Sheikh Abdurrahman. I don't know what the brothers are doing. I don't know where they go. What kind of question is this? Wasting people's time, ya Atif. We're wasting people's time. Did he leave? Did he go? I don't know, Habibi. I don't know what's happening. I barely know what I'm doing. You want me to know what Sheikh Muhammad Tim Humble is doing? Allah yahdik ya Sheikh. Allah ysamhak bas. Can we get quizzes made on our Aqidah series so that we can understand the lecture and test ourselves? Yes, there are quizzes. And a brother, where is that brother? There's a brother who made a bunch of quizzes and he would email them to me. I would approve them and he posted them somewhere. Maybe he will come back tomorrow to the Aqidah class. There are already quizzes for the Aqidah class. I don't know why he never posted them. He asked me if he can post them. I told him, go ahead, knock yourself out. We have quizzes, inshallah. Yeah, if anybody else, well, yeah, you guys make the quiz. I can't make the quiz. But if anybody wants to volunteer, make the quiz, then go ahead. How do we say, oh Allah, make me a dutiful son? Allahumma ja'alni barran biwaliday. Aw Allahumma ja'alni waladan barran. Allahumma ja'alni waladan barran. Barran means from bar as in dutiful. Dutiful and beautiful, Habibi. MashaAllah, look at this dua. That's the mindset, yeah. FS. Funky stuff. Jazakallah khair. Beautiful stuff, akhi. That's a beautiful dua. May Allah bless you for thinking like that. Next. What is the book explained for my reference? What is this? What is the book explained for my reference? We're going over the tafsir of Sheikh Abdurrahman Nasir al-Sa'di, the Tafsir Kareem al-Rahman fi Tafsir Kalam al-Mannan. It's the tafsir of Sheikh Abdurrahman Nasir al-Sa'di. It's a famous tafsir in the Arab world. Now, among the Arabic speaking people. That's what I mean by Arab. And by the way, many of the scholars say whoever speaks Arabic becomes an Arab. If you speak Arabic, you're an Arab. So when I say Arab, don't think I'm trying to, sound nationalistic or racist in any way, because I couldn't care less. So anyone who speaks Arabic, understands Arabic, is part of the Arab world. So in the Arab world, yes, it's a very famous book, Tafsir. Now, next. Can we have debates with parents if they make fun of scholars? No. You cannot. What do you mean have debates with parents? You can have a dialogue with your parents, a respectful, very well chosen set of words type of dialogue with your parents in order to give them da'wah, just like Ibrahim alayhi salam gave da'wah to his father. Yes, using the same methodology. Ya abati la ta'bud ash-shaytan. My father, you speak to him, my lovely father, with these kind of words. You don't have a debate with your parents where you have a moderator and he stands in the middle and you say, are you crazy? These are your parents, man. You can have a dialogue with them, respectful one, where you can educate them in case they really don't know what they're talking about, and you do. A lot of times it's the other way around. Yeah, next. Next. Is it permissible to play a fighting game where there are two characters based on an angel and fallen angel? I'm asking as my brother wishes to play it and I'm against it. Well, you should avoid this. You should avoid the games where there are angelic characters, satanic characters, and things of this exaggerated sense. No, there are plenty of alternatives. You can play many other games that don't have that. Try Angry Birds. I'm the brother behind the Peace, Zorro, and Faith Compass accounts. Oh my God, Abdul Rahim. I just wanted to apologize for my behavior. Please forgive me. It's okay, Habibi. No problem. Ya Abdul Rahim. Jazakallah khair wa barakallah feek wa ala rasi min fawq ya Sheikh. No problem. No hard feelings, no grudges. Thank you for being kind and respectful enough to bring it forth. In the future, don't even worry about it. We get a little sad when we see this kind of friction and this kind of collision that happens. But at the end of the day, we all want Allah's forgiveness. We all want to make it to Jannah in spite of our shortcomings. So as far as I'm concerned, there's absolutely nothing to be sorry about. And if you've done anything wrong, I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to forgive you and forgive me and forgive all of us. Abshir ya Sheikh. ما في مشكلة. Yeah, Abu Abdurrahman, you have bribed my son. This is the third question within 5 minutes. شو يا مصعب? No, go back. عيب خلاص. Allah, Abu Mussab sold you for a cheap price. In 2 seconds, he forgot about you. Can you cut ties with family members if they have little to no fear of Allah? I'm of the opinion that you can never cut ties with your family members. I know that other scholars, and I'm not a scholar, but I know that there are other scholars who say so. I follow the scholars who say that no, you cannot cut ties with family members. You can minimize, but you can never sever the ties completely. Allahu A'lam. Go back to the other guy. Yalla, Sheikh. Right here, Faizan Sharif. Ustad, I posted the quizzes of Aqidah classes in the comment section, but I think they got lost in the comment section. Tayyib, Faizan, come with, give us a solution. Mussab, find a solution. This brother Faizan left the quizzes before. Send us the link. Post the link here right now, and then my family will take care of it so that we'll find a place to post it on our website or something for people to take it. Jazakallah khair. Just communicate with them privately. Let them send it to you, Sheikh. Can a 25-year-old woman delay marriage so that she can be with her parents for some years to serve them? It's not that she's getting proposals from good men and she's refusing it. No problem. No problem, inshallah. If that's the case, no problem. Jazakallahu khairan. Are rules that apply for slaves same as for servants? No. Yo, hey, slow your roll. Effort, please. No. Oh my God, no. Oh, that's the biggest concern. Yeah, my tea is done. Yeah, Sheikh. Servants are free people where you have a contract for them to clean, cook, stuff like that. If you have a slave woman, look, let me just put it strictly and swiftly. A Muslim man may have sexual relations with a slave woman that he owns. If she's his slave girl, he's permitted to have relations with her, just like he does with his wife. And so you can't do this with a maid. That's zina. You can't do this with a servant. So they're absolutely not the same in any way, shape, or form. Maybe the only resemblance between them is that they all do house chores or they all do, work, cleaning work, but they're not the same. You cannot have, what do you mean to have a contract with a servant to emancipate her? So you hire a maid and then you tell her, look, if you pay me X amount monthly, she has to pay you, by the way, not you. You're not the one paying her. She has to pay you. So you can free her after 2 years. What the heck are you talking about, man? Yo, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Heck no, man. They're not the same. This is not a slave girl. It's a free maid. Not a free as in free you don't have to pay for the services. Free as in she's not owned by anyone. She doesn't have a master. Oh, someone help me. Yalla, next. Yeah, I guess Abu Abdurrahman is the man today. Such a saying, I don't know how to pronounce the word, but I know it's a Chinese Muslim. Situation is fake and the Chinese are good or simply not fearing Allah much. Oh, so that's what your family is saying? That's connected with the previous question. It doesn't matter what they say, okay? You don't cut the kinship ties. Like I said, you every now and then you send hello, you call them on the phone, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. You don't have to hang out with them all the time, but you don't sever the kinship ties completely. My 11-year-old brother loves your videos. It's harder for him to watch other ustads, but you're very easy to understand and enjoyable. Alhamdulillah. May Allah increase. Jazakallah khair ya Abu Abdurrahman. حياك الله وحيا الله أخاك. هلا بالمشايخ. هلا بالمشايخ. Ayyub comes around again. No, we answered that already. We already answered Ayyub ya Jama'at al-Khair. How to find alim Rabbani and what are their attributes. Wallahi, finding alim al-Rabbani, يعني al-ulama al-Rabbaniyun, in other words, al-alim al-Rabbani is an alim who is at, first and foremost, he has a quality of the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. Someone that is constantly remembering Allah. You could see the fear of Allah in their face. It's a quality. You could see the light in their face. You could see the fear of Allah in their face. And the only person that I could think of that you could see him, you could see that in his face was Sheikh Abdurrahman, Sheikh Muhammad Mukhtar al-Shankiti, Hafidhahullah. This is a Sheikh, when you look at him, you remember Allah when you see his face, subhanallah. That alim Rabbani is someone who's mindful of Allah and his vast knowledge. How to find them? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It depends on where you are. They could be in your local masjid. They could be in your local masjid. You just don't know. So yeah. Making images are haram, Sheikh. So how are video games permissible? It's a kind of image making. Well, first of all, the scholars have differed about making images in digital format. Second of all, based on that, the scholars differ. Also, the scholars differ on even cartoon. They differ on making cartoon. knowing that very well that is being drawn. Some of the scholars allow it for purposes of teaching, just like Aisha had certain dolls and it was relevant to her age. So that whole discussion is a very complex one. And so you don't oppose, or don't think I'm opposing you or the majority. Just go on Islam QA and search up the issue. You will find the answers over there. Okay, so it's something that the scholars have discussed and we're just following suit. We're not coming up with our own rulings where we make it lawful what Allah Azza wa Jal made haram. Now, okay, we have 2 more minutes. How do you define completely cutting off family ties? Well, when you don't talk to them anymore at all, there's absolutely no communication. It's as though, like when someone disowns another one. That's what I mean. Like disowning them, meaning you have absolutely no contact with your uncle or your aunt or your cousins or whoever they may be. You just don't contact them at all. That's completely cutting off ties. Whereas if they have issues, they have a bad influence on you, you don't go visit each other, you don't hang out, but you still keep family ties alive. There's still a link, a very small link, nevertheless, but it's a link. You don't cut it off completely. That's all. How do I improve my character to be a better Muslim? That's what we're all trying to figure out. Yeah, Sheikh on steroid. Sheikh on steroid. We're all trying to figure that out. I mean, the best way, honestly, is to read the biography of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and try to emulate him. May Allah Azza wa Jal grant us that. Now, I heard someone making dua like this: O King of all kings, O Doctor of all doctors. No, you cannot call Allah O Doctor of all doctors. What the heck? What does resume mean? Well, it depends. It could be resume and it could be resume. Resume means your CV. It's like your small bibliography or whatever they call it. It's like a little, isn't it bibliography? Biography? What about bibliography? I've heard of that before. Yeah, whatever. Everybody wants to be philosophical right now. And it's a small bio. How about that? Yeah. So it's like a CV. Or resume is to continue something after having stopped it. So we stop the classes, then we will resume the class, meaning we will continue the class on such day. Inshallah. Biodata. Yeah, there you go. Is there vaccine passports to travel around Saudi? How come scholars are silent on evidence pertaining to death rates from vaccines? Oh, mashallah, tabarakallah, we have another one. Okay, well, we have Tawakkalna, which is an application that is used to, yes, it does have a vaccine passport per se. And how come scholars are silent on evidence pertaining to death rates from vaccines? Where are the death rates from vaccines? Where, Habibi? What access to medical reports do you have that the scholars obviously don't have? Or according to you, you have access to these medical reports, and the scholars also, they do. You know for a fact that the sheikh in his home, someone came, knocked on the door, said, Sheikh, open the door. Sheikh, people are dropping dead in the streets. People are dying from the vaccines. Sheikh, say something about it. And the sheikh was like, no, I'm a bootlika. I'm an agent for the government. A'udhu billah. I will never tell the people that they're dying from the vaccines. Get out of my house now. And he will shut the door. You know all that? All that, yeah, Abu Qahwa? You know all that is happening, mashallah, tabarakallah. Go drink some qahwa, ya sheikh. وش الكلام الفاضي هذا يا بابا؟ وش دراك أنت أصلا إنه people are dying? Where is the death rate from the vaccines? Show me. Because somebody put a video of a football player fainting on the floor, and another one put a basketball player on the floor. خلاص, anyone with a heart condition now, a heart issue, it's also because of the vaccine. يا جماعة الخير أنت وبعدين مع الكونسبيرسي ثيوري تبع بابا وجيجي. طخنت أم الشغلة يا شيخ. خلاص يا بابا. يلا أبو قهوة، سم نفسك أبو شاي. How can I increase my khushu' in prayer? Watch my lecture, Errors in Connection. Watch my lecture, Errors in Connection. I broke it down over there. طيب, we're done with the Q&A. This has been overwhelming, to be honest with you. And yeah, Jazakumullah khair for hanging around here. And like I said, tomorrow, inshallah, we will have our Aqidah class, and that will also be the last Aqidah class, inshallah, before we resume on December 25th. So, yeah, you better not have any Christmas plans, Muslims. I will deal with that then, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Love you all. Bye.